Hey sweet friends, and welcome back to Krafts by Katelyn. I'm excited you are joining me today. For today's video, we are creating some outdoor projects that are perfect to dress up your patio or maybe your outdoor favorite hangout spot, but these turned out really cute and really easy to make. I do want to thank Cricut for sponsoring today's video. I have been loving sharing all of these Cricut DIYs on my channel recently, and you all seem to really enjoy them. So some of you guys have been sharing you either got a Cricut over Christmas break or maybe you purchased yourself one, whether that was for quarantine or just being stuck in this winter, and you were asking for some new, fun, unique ideas. So these projects are perfect for dressing up any space. That will be really fun, especially going on into the warmer months. Years ago, when I first purchased a Cricut and was learning about them, I always thought about like making t-shirts or scrapbooking, wall decals, and while I still love creating all of those things, I wanted to dive a little bit deeper and create some unique projects to show you what else you can do with your Cricut machine. Today I am featuring the Cricut Maker, but you can create any of these projects I'm making today with the Explorer or even your little Cricut Joy. There's definitely a machine that fits into everyone's budget. They have some great sales going on right now, so I will link my favorite machines down below, so go check out that description box. But let's go ahead and jump on into the video and make some of these outdoor DIY decor pieces that you're going to love, and they're really going to dress up any space and make entertaining more fun. Okay, so we are going to jump on into crafting and share with you some neat creative ideas that you can make DIYs along with your Cricut. So for the first thing I'm making is a wreath to go like out on our new patio or porch that we just built, and I feel like this will just add so much fun color to this. You could customize this with so many of the different colors. I love using just a couple of different colors of the flowers from Dollar Tree, so it's not super busy, and then all of my decorative pieces are really going to pop out. But I do love mixing in the same color in different styles of flowers. So I picked out the different kinds that I loved, and then I'm going to tie these on with jute twine and kind of bend the stem in the shape of the wreath ring, and just keep going in the same direction and stacking these on top of each other. I love using the jute twine and tying it down versus the floral wire because I just feel like it is so much easier to work with. So I left this spot a little thin on purpose so I could glue down a decorative sign. I'm using one of these Walmart circles. This is from Plaid, very inexpensive, and I thought I would go ahead and stain it. I am loving all of the wood tones and everything, and I thought it would be really pretty to add that into this wreath. And I also am going to be adding in a bow, so I feel like this color goes perfect with the Dollar Tree burlap ribbon. So I go ahead and stain that with my flagstone stain, and then you can see it fits perfect in that little spot that I left out of flower. And then this is the ribbon I'm going with, and I love making bows this way. It is just the easiest way for me, but just creating some loops out of the ribbon and stacking them together. I usually do 2 or 3, but in this case I'm doing the 3 because I just feel like it needed a little bit more fluff to fill up the space. I didn't like how the wooden circle was kind of getting pushed back behind the flowers, so I decided to build it up a little bit by using these tower blocks. These are just tiny pieces of wood, and it's going to let me glue it onto the wreath ring, but it will kind of stick up past the flowers and really pop out. So I sanded that down to give it distressing, and then it was time to get out my Cricut. I love using my Cricut so much, and the Cricut Maker just blows your mind about how much that it can even do. And I wanted to share with you all my design space and where I found all of these images. You can see that that little green tab at the top is if you are subscribed to their Access subscription, and you can get access to all of or a ton of their Cricut library, so I do recommend doing that. I have been a member for a long time there, or subscribe, so I'm able to have access to all of these images, but they are also up for purchase, so you can just do whatever fits into your budget. But for this first one, I chose Home Sweet Home. I thought that would be so cute and appropriate to go on this little wreath. I am using the white permanent vinyl. I just load this into my Cricut and it's going to cut it out and make it so much more easy to craft. I used to have to hand paint letters all the time, and I just feel like you get such a higher end look by adding the decals on there, or the vinyl that is cut with the Cricut. You can see that I am now weeding this and using my transfer tape to pick it up and then putting it down on my little sign. I have this budget-friendly DIY channel, so I am all the time trying to create projects made using Dollar Tree or Dollar General, dollar store items, or even Walmart. But with your Cricut, you can definitely feel free to purchase a pre-made wreath and add a sign to that. But I feel like there's so much you can do in a little wreath like this you could actually sell. I used to love selling the things that I made with my Cricut machine. I used to cut out a lot of scrapbooking die cuts as well as vinyl and sold them. So like I got to pay off my machine that way, and it's just really cool to make higher end pieces that look super nice, like they came from the store. But I love this wreath. I feel like it came out so beautiful, exactly what I was going for, and adds that perfect touch for spring. Next up, for our outdoor DIYs, I'm going to be creating this wooden tray. Now, I got this idea from my sweet friend Megan from Glue Guns and Roses. She always has like the best high-end ideas. I love watching her channel, and you guys will love her. I'll link her video down below. But she created like a huge tray out of these Dollar Tree signs, and I loved it, and the size was really big and beautiful if you have the place for it. But I was wanting to put a tray on my little side table outside, and so I did have to cut these down. So definitely go check out how hers turned out. But I wanted to put this tray together and show you all how you can use Cricut as a stencil, like to cut out stencils to paint little trays like this, and it turned out so beautiful. I'm definitely into kind of like the neutral farmhouse kind of boho look right now, and I just am loving how this turned out. So I used my miter box and saw, and I cut these down. I actually went outside and measured my little side table to see exactly how big I wanted this to be, and then I give these all a couple coats of white chalk paint. Now, for whatever reason, the super bright neon orange ones, I was having trouble painting those. So they were like soaking up the paint, and the orange color or the neon color was shining through. So if you can avoid that color, I definitely would. The dark navy even covered way better with the paint. So that's just a tip. You can kind of even see it a little bit in this clip, it trying to show through, so I do give it an extra coat later on in the video. But I connect all of these together with liquid nails, and this is just giving it a really nice tight hold. And I like to opt for a different glue versus hot glue, especially whenever I am putting this outside. So Megan took this faux leather ribbon, and I've actually used this faux leather ribbon for handles before, so I thought it was really cool. She actually added it to this tray, and she used some thumbtacks and actually like pushed them all the way down into the wood and hammered them in. So that's what I'm doing. But I wanted to kind of spice mine up a little, like I said, with the Cricut. So I take this steel color and go ahead and paint around the edges, and then I'm going to go and cut out a stencil using the Cricut. So I always create a new project in Cricut Design Space and then hit add new image, and then up at the top I am searching for stencil, and you can see all of the different options. They have some beautiful stencils that you can cut out and even design your own. but you can see that I needed this to be bigger, especially for this little tray. So I'm going to go ahead and cut out a full page on my 12 by 12 mat of these stencils. So I am just right clicking and duplicating over the image, and then I can stick them all together. And if you click and drag the shape over all of the pieces and then right click and weld it together, it will become one piece. So this definitely helps me so much. I use this all the time. And then Cricut has its own stencil paper, so I'm putting that down on my sticky mat and cutting that down to size, and then letting the Cricut do all of the work. And I love this so much, getting all of these custom stencils without having to leave your house or go shop for them. And they're just so handy, and you can just create anything. So I took a second to weed this out. I love this pattern. I feel like it was really forgiving, but just that beautiful boho look to it. I chose to stick it down in the center, and then I felt like it would be way easier to kind of match up the edges than having a seam in the center if I didn't get these to match up perfect. But then I'm using the same steel colored chalk paint and dabbing one of these little round sponges from Dollar Tree in it, and this just works so perfect. And the stencil is adhesive, so it's going to make sure that none of your paint is bleeding or anything. And then I try to match this up on the edges to get the same look, and it looks like the entire thing is painted the same. I love this look. I feel like it is so beautiful. Definitely boho, but I love how it has those neutral colors. Don't forget to go check out Megan's tray. Hers turned out really pretty. These are so customizable. I love getting to use the stencil on there, but I wanted to keep this a neutral color, so whenever I decorated it, everything just popped off of it. The leather handles really make it a working tray and just a super fun project. Next up, I just picked up a cheap little sign from Dollar Tree that I wanted to make over, but it had this really nice wooden frame. I wanted to share with you all some iron-on projects, so I thought this would be really fun. I took the little 3D pieces off and sanded down the glue a little bit, and then I'm giving the back a base coat of white paint to get rid of all of that purple color. I'm actually going to be ironing on burlap for this little sign, so I hope I didn't confuse you whenever I said I'm going to be ironing on this wooden sign, but I'm actually going to be doing it on the burlap. So I love these wedding burlap rows from Walmart. They're in the wedding section, and they're kind of like a table runner, but the burlap is like tightly woven. And every time I purchase like burlap fabric from Walmart or somewhere, it's like more like bigger squares and like a looser thread. So I just feel like it doesn't hold together as tight as this does. So I cut this down to size, and then I'm actually pulling a couple of the strings out the edges to get this raveled look. And then I am using my little Cricut mini press. I love this thing so much. It is so handy to keep on your craft table and use for all of your smaller projects. And then all I had on hand on iron-on was this Cricut Joy, which it still works perfect. I just had to watch the sizing, but it worked perfect for this little sign. But you definitely can buy bigger sheets of the iron-on vinyl. I chose Welcome to Our Porch. I thought this would be fun to create a little sign that would fit perfect on the tray that we just made. So I picked the little quote that I wanted, or the style of the word that I wanted, and then I'm going to cut this out on my Cricut. You do have to make sure that you mirror the image. So whenever you do go to cut it, it will say mirror. You just check that little box or slide the little thing over, and it will highlight that it is mirrored, because you do want to cut this backwards. So you'll see what I mean, but that way it will be the right way whenever you flip it over to iron it down. I feel like the iron-on vinyl and this little mini press are the perfect thing if you're wanting to do like DIY gifts. You can do stockings or Christmas ornaments. You can put little iron-ons on like stuffed animals or little t-shirts. I have the bigger press too. Always double check before you start ironing on to make sure that you have weeded out all of the little letters and make sure nothing is stuck, because I have done that before and it stinks so bad to have to start over or waste a shirt if that's what you're making. But using my mini press, I'm pressing this down like it says to do until it is stuck. And I feel like this is so cool, getting to iron on burlap and make home decor. You can see that the lace is showing on the back. That just was on the table runner, but flipping this to the back, you'll never see it. But I feel like this is the perfect size to set on that little tray. I do wish I would have used black because it would have popped out more, but the gray just goes with everything and matches my style. Next up, I wanted to use this dollar store set of hooks, Dollar Tree set of hooks, and make a little wooden sign on it. So to make this sign, I am going to be piecing together these little wooden planks. Now, once again, if you're not a Dollar Tree crafter, you definitely can check out the hardware store and go get real wood for these projects. But these are so inexpensive and easy to work with, so it wasn't nothing just to put these together. I'm actually using a combination of liquid nails and hot glue to get a really strong hold on this, and I just had a couple of pieces of Hobby Lobby. They're bigger than popsicle sticks, so these little planks of wood for the backing, and piece them together and then use some wood filler to fill in the crack. I wanted to create a sign to put outside that I could kind of hang like the gardening tools on, whether I am working in like flower beds or gardening. Fun fact, me and my husband actually love growing a garden, and we do that every year. We grow a ton of stuff like squash, cucumbers, and tomatoes, and green beans, and watermelons, and cantaloupes, and a ton of things. I probably forgot everything, but I love gardening. Now, I don't know if this is going to be 100% functional. I think it's going to be more like cute decor that I will put on my porch versus just being functional, because it would get really dirty if you used your tools and then hung them back up here. But I wanted to create this little sign. I thought it would be really cute. And whenever you love gardening, it's always fun to decorate outside with gardening pieces. So after I got my sign all painted white, I wanted to cut out "Welcome to my garden," and I decided to do that with the black permanent. And you don't have to do this. It's gonna hold on there really nice and tight. It is permanent vinyl, but I always love to go over my projects with some type of clear sealant, sometimes Mod Podge, sometimes I spray it with clear spray paint, but just to give it a little bit more protection in case the rain blows in or the sun touches it. I like to keep all of these projects under a covered roof, but just to let you know there, in case you are making these. But I cut out "Welcome to my garden," and I decided to separate the little vines so that I could cut them apart and put them on both sides. I then got everything down in place and then glued this to the hooks. I even tacked the rope on the back of the sign to make sure that it was going to stay nice and flat, but this is how it came together. I hung my little tools on it, and I feel like it is such a beautiful, fun piece that kind of just represents one of our most fun hobbies. thank you all so much for coming along and crafting with me today. Be sure to go check out the links in the description box down below to check out a Cricut if you haven't purchased one yet. They are such a great way to step up your crafting game, whether you are just going into making hobbies or wanting to sell stuff online, but you get so much more of a professional looking DIY versus having to hand paint everything, and it just saves you a lot of time. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up button. It really helps me out here on YouTube, and I'll see you in the next one. Happy crafting. Bye.